Hi everyone. So the next activity that we're going to look at is budgets. It's an introduction to budgets, so I'm going to explain the debtors collection schedule, how to work out cost of sales going into total purchases and your creditors payments. We are going to do an actual cash budget as well. This is just the workings of it. It's for grade 11 and 12 level. And then after this, I'll see if I can do another one where we go more into depth of what they can also ask on grade 12 level. But it's very important that you do understand the basics and how to work your cash budget. Thank you very much for everybody that's watching. I hope you enjoy it, and please remember to subscribe to my channel. Right, so starting with a question on budgets, we'll normally start with the debtors collection schedule, as you can see over there. So I've got my information over here, my sales. So you'll see the majority of the time they will give you actual sales and budgeted sales. You don't need to worry about that. Actual just means that happened already and the budgeted didn't happen, and we are busy with the forecast, so we need to use the budgeted amounts as well. So really don't be freaked out about the fact that there's actual and budgeted. So we need to do all of this from October until December. And then the first thing that I'm going to do, looking at my sales, wanting to do debtors collection, I need to go and work out what part is on credit. Okay, so if I go to August, and I'm just going to write it here underneath it quickly. If I go to August, 40% will be 36,000. For September, 40% will be 32,000. Okay. If I then go and read, it says that during October and November, 50% of sales are expected to be on credit. So 50% of 75,000 and 50% of 110,000. Okay. And then if we read further, from the 1st of December, credit sales are expected to increase by another 20%. So from 50%, it's going to increase with another 20. So that will be 70%. So then I get 105,000 Rand. Okay. So now I've got all my credit sales. Now I'm going to go further and read the part about how debtors will pay. So they say that 40% will pay in the month of the sale, 35% a month later, and 20% 2 months later. If they pay in the month of the sale, they will get a 2.5% discount. So that means that I'm going to multiply with 97.5%. If it was a 4% discount, I will multiply with 96. If it was a 5% discount, I'll multiply with 95. If it was a 2% discount, I multiply with 98. And then also what I do is I just go and I number them 1, 2, and 3. So now we are going to go to our answer sheet, and all the answer sheets will differ. So hopefully it will be, but let's say the main part of it will always be the same. So I'm going to start with my August sales, and I know from what I've worked out, my credit sale is 36,000. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to use this again, okay? 1 is 40% in the month of the sale, 2 35%, and 3 20%. So if I go to August, 40% will pay in August, 35% will pay in September, and 20% will pay in October. So I just make a 3 there. It links to my number 3 over there, and I'll do the calculation a bit later. Then I go to September. The September credit sale is 32,000, and I'm going to do the same thing. 40% will pay in September, and 35% will pay in October. 20% will pay in November. So I'm going to use the September credit sales again. And then we go to October. The October credit sale is 37,500 Rand, and I'm doing the same thing. 40% will pay in October, 35% in November, and 20% in December. So I use the October credit sale again. And then we go to November. Okay, now for November, the credit sale amount was 35,000 Rand. I cannot use the October column because it's a November sale. So 40% will pay in the month of the sale, which is November, and 35% 1 month later in December. And then if I go to December, the credit sale is 105,000 Rand, and I cannot use October, I cannot use November, and 40% will pay in the month of the sale. So now I'm done with all the thinking of it, and you will see if we do it, it will always go in these little stairs. Okay, so all I do now is, if I go back to this, now I'm going to put the percentages in there. So if it's a 3, I put 20%, a 2, 35, and a 1, 40. So if I go back over there, a 3 will be 20%, a 2 will be 35%, and then a 1, very important, that is the 1. What did I do now? Did I do something wrong? That must be a 3, sorry, I'm looking at my thing, I just numbered it wrong. So that will be a 20%, so that it works 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, okay? Then over here, I've got my 1. So I'm going to multiply with 40%, and now because they get a discount, I multiply with 97.5%. And then I continue with 35%, with 20%. And again, if we get to November, which is a 1, I multiply with 40%, but then I also need to multiply with 97.5%. And then that one becomes a 35%, and then 40% times 97.5%. Okay, and it's very important when you type this into your calculator that you type in that amount multiplied by 40% multiplied by 97.5%. You can't subtract this from the 40%. You must type it in exactly as I wrote it over there. And then you just type everything in on your calculator and you get your amounts. And then the total year at the bottom will be the amount that I will enter in my cash budget for October, November, and December for my debtors collection. The next thing we are going to do is we're going to look at how I buy stock and how I pay my creditors. That's the second part. So if I look over here, it says that the profit, they give me the profit markup, but then I'm looking for this part of the sentence. Stock is replenished in the month of the sale. That little sentence tells me a very important thing. That tells me that total purchases equals cost of sales. It is extremely important to realize that. So they give me the profit markup along with the sales amounts to work out cost of sales. From cost of sales, I need to move to total purchases, and then I go and split it. So we're going to take it slow. I already used number 1 and number 2 for my debtors collection. Then I went down to number 3, and I saw they gave me the profit markup, but then stock is replenished in the month of the sale. That means what goes out must come in again. What I sold must come back. Cost of sales, what went out, must be bought again. Total purchases. So let's just do that. And now the nice thing is, I don't necessarily have to go back to August. I only need to do a cash budget for October, November, and December. So safety-wise, I'm going to start with September. Okay, and I've got space here. So I'm going to start with September, October, November, and December. Okay, and the first thing that I'm going to write down is the sales amount, total sales, not the credit or the cash, but the total amount, 75,000, 110,000, and then 150,000. Okay, total sales. Then I am going to work out cost of sales. So for September, it's 80,000 times 100 divided by 133,33333, and I get cost of sales. I'm going to use a different color. I get cost of sales as 60,000. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing for all the other 3 months. Right, so I've got all of them over there. This is my cost of sales. But because of this lovely sentence over here, stock is replenished in the month of the sale, this amount that I got over here will also be my total purchases. Okay, and just on that note, when you multiply with 33 1/3%, you must always remember when you put it in your calculator to put down as many 3's after the comma as possible in order to get a full amount without a decimal. Okay, now we're going to read further. They said that 40% of the purchase are cash, which means 60% will be on credit. We can actually go and do both of them because we will need both of them anyway. So let's start with cash, which is 40%. Okay, so there I've split them up into the cash part and the credit part. So I took the cost of sales, which turned out to be total purchases, and I've split them up. So this part over there, I know, will be my cash purchases in my cash budget. These are my credit purchase amounts, and I need to now figure out when will I pay them. I bought this in September, but when will I pay it? So now we go and read the last part, and it says there that creditors are paid in the month following the purchase in order to receive a 5% discount, which means I will be multiplying with 95%. So in order to work out when will I pay my creditors, I know they will pay 1 month later. Okay? So the September amount will be paid in October, the October amount in November, and the November amount in December. But it's not that amount. It is 5% less. So I need to multiply with 95. I'm going to do it here in my October column. 34,200 is what I will pay. And then for November, looks like I did something wrong. 33,750 times 95 divided by 100. So the amount in November will be 32063. I'm just rounding it off. And then the amount that I will pay in December is 47025. Okay, so let's recap. There's my cash purchases. So I'll enter that in my cash budget as is for October, November, and December. Over here is my credit purchases. I will pay them 1 month later in October, November, and December, but it's not the full amount that I pay. I pay 5% less, so I went to multiply with 95%. If I were to pay it in pieces, it would have looked very similar to what I did over there with my debtors collection. And then also, as you can see, it's quite a lengthy calculation that I'm doing over here. From debtors collection into creditors payment, you have to do some sort of calculation, and you have to do it in a system, otherwise you are going to get confused. And all I do then is I take all my amounts and I put them into my cash budget. And I always start with those ones. It's always cash sales and then receipts from debtors and then cash purchases and then payments to creditors. And I always, you just copy the amounts in, and now we're going to read and see what else must be filled in. Okay, so next up we are going to look at the other entries that we need to make into our cash budget. So the first one that they've got over there says that the amount due in respect for advertising in September will be paid in October. They are referring to, if I go back to the first page, they are referring to the accrued expenses starting on 1st of October. That advertising cost had to be paid in September. Accrued expenses means I should have paid it, but I did not. So that was owed to advertising at the end of September. So they are instructing me over there in number 6 to pay it now in October. So my advertising will be 5,000 more than whatever they are saying. So then we read on. Advertising costs are based on the projected monthly sales. They are paid in the same month by check. That means cash. The advertising costs are expected to increase from 3% to 4% of sales on the 1st of December. So it means for October and November, we are looking at 3%, and for December, we are looking at 4%. They gave me the sales, if you remember, over here. So I just used that amount, the printed one, not my writing. That was my calculation. So the printed 3 amounts will be my total sales. So if we then go to our cash budget for October, it's going to be the total sale of 75,000 times 3%, and then I'm going to add 5,000 Rand, and that will give me 7,250. For November, it's only going to be the sales, which is 110,000 times 3%. That will give me 3,300. And then for December, it will be 150,000, but now not 3%, but 4%, which will be 6,000 Rand. Okay? Then we are going to read this part about a laptop. So it says there that a new laptop valued to 18,000 will be bought on credit for the accountant during November. A 50% deposit will be paid in November. Let's stop there. I am going to pay a deposit. Very important. I must always indicate everything separately. I'm going to pay the deposit in November, which will be 9,000 Rand. Then they tell me further that the balance, which is also 9,000, will be paid in 2 equal installments starting in December. I've paid 9,000, there's 9,000 left, and then 2 equal installments means 4,500 in December and 4,500 in January. Okay? Then we go on to the second part of this transaction. The old laptop will be sold at a loss of 1,000 Rand to a staff member for cash. Cash meaning I know I must enter the amount that I'll receive. They give me the cost price of the old laptop and the carrying value of the old laptop. So we are now going back to work that we've done at the beginning of the year with asset disposal, because I need to draw up my asset disposal account, fill in the information I've got, and then work out what is the amount that I received for this laptop. Right, so there's my asset disposal account. That's the layout, and I filled in a loss because they indicated I'm making a loss. So if I go and read it again, they said that the old laptop will be sold at a loss of 1,000. So I'm going to fill in 1,000. They told me that it will be sold to a staff member for cash. I don't know what it is. We're going to work it out. Then they tell me the cost price of the laptop is 15,000. and then they give me the carrying value of 6. You need to know what carrying value means. Cost minus accumulated depreciation will give me the carrying value. Cost of 15 minus something will give me 6. This will be 9. 15 minus 9 will give me a carrying value of 6. And then I can work out if both sides must equal. Then I can work out that I will receive 5,000 Rand for this laptop. Now, when did I get the money? On the 15th of December. So I'm going to go to my cash budget and I'm going to fill in the 5,000 Rand in December. Next up, we've got depreciation. They're trying to test you. Depreciation is a non-cash item. We just ignore it. Then we look at the loan. The loan was taken out 2 years ago. The loan installment, which includes interest, amounts to 2,000 Rand a month. Very straightforward. I'm just going to enter 2,000 Rand every single month. Okay. Then they tell me that the proprietor withdraws 12,000 cash. Very important. They might sometimes throw in trading stock in here as well. We can only deal with cash for our cash budget. So that's 12,000 Rand every month. And then they tell me the last entry over there, salaries will remain constant over the budgeted period. So if I go back to my previous information, over there I've got an extract from my income statement. There's no other information that I can use. That is the total amount for the entire year. So I will have to go and divide it with 12 to get the monthly amount, because I need to enter over here in my cash budget a monthly salaries amount, which will be 30,000. Okay, and all I do then, I'm going to add up my receipts and I'm going to add up my payments. After I've added up my receipts and I've added up my payments, I'm going to say my receipts minus my payments, and I'm going to either get a surplus or a deficit over here. In every month, my payments are more than my receipts. So I am going to get a deficit every time. I must indicate it in a bracket like that. Then I need the opening balance for my bank amount. So I'm going to go over here. Over there they tell me bank is a debit balance on the 1st of October, 90,000 Rand. So I'm just going to go here, enter 90,000. I'm going to subtract the deficit from the 90,000 and then I will get my bank balance at the end. That amount will be the start for the next month. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get my bank balance at the end. That will be the start of the next month. I'm going to subtract the 2 and over here I end now with a deficit in my bank account. Right, that's the cash budget for you.